working with them.
Well, that very needed service. That sounds like a hard job to do.
It's better insured though.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm sure, and I mean, I'm sure you're, if I know you well, Ben, so I know you'll be great at it because you'll do a good
Right.
job of connecting with the kids and doing that. So it's something that people really, really need. But
It
yeah, so
resonates well with my heart. So
good,
that's what I'm looking
good,
forward.
good. That's super important.
All right. Hello, everybody. Sorry, we had a couple technical difficulties here.
I think everybody found their way back. So I was on the call before it dropped, so I think everybody got back. So it's a good thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have Abby lead the meeting, and I'm going to be here to kind of help and fill in. But she's the one who prepared for this, and I'm the fill-in today. So I'm going to let her take the lead.
All right. Hi, everybody. Sorry for the couple technical difficulties here getting started. I appreciate everybody's patience. So I'm Abby Chesson. I'm a certified prosthetist orthotist with Bremer Prosthetics, and I have Nate joining today too.
Abby, can you mute the mic on your phone or whatever? You're logged in 2 places. Can you mute?
Okay, is that better?
That's way better.
Yes,
Much better. Okay, sorry about that.
That's all right.
All right, so thanks everybody for joining us. I know we see a couple of familiar faces here. So for those of you that have been here, we'd like to start with just a couple of quick introductions. And if anybody has any questions, we'll kind of go through and we can talk as we go through introductions. So Steve, do you want to kick it off for us today?
Okay, hi, my name's Steve. I've been an amputee since July 26th, 2023. Got my first prosthetic October 11th, 2023. I'm in a pin lock system and just very active, and everything's going well so far.
Good. So keeping up and moving and
Yes,
starting to...
the first week I got my prosthetic, I walked out of prosthetic. The first week I did 189,000 steps, 64 miles.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Nice. Cheryl, can I have you introduce yourself? If you want to share just a little bit about where you're from, your level of amputation, and how long you've been an amputee?
Sure. So I've been an amputee. Well, my name is Cheryl. I'm from Palm Bay, Florida. And I've been an amputee since 2017. I was a week away from getting my knee replaced when I was run over by a drunk driver and lost a whole leg. So I'm above the knee amputee. So I can walk. I have a prosthetic and a microprocessor knee, and I can walk assisted with a walker. And I'm still working out getting the socket to fit comfortably. I think once I can get that straightened out, I'll be able to walk better. But my right knee is just as bad as my left knee was. So it's kind of iffy whether or not I'll ever be walking unassisted or not. But that's where I'm at.
Has your prosthetist been working with you of going through making adjustments to the socket and trying to get that fitting well for you?
Yes.
Good, good. And I know a lot of it, so we kind of talk a lot about building that trust with the prosthesis too, and starting to learn to rely on it, making sure that things are comfortable. And it takes a lot of time to know that you can rely on that knee, that it's going to hold your body weight. Have you been working in physical therapy as well?
Absolutely no physical therapy. We
From the
don't,
beginning?
and this... In the beginning, I went from the hospital to a rehabilitation facility, and they taught me pretty much everything I needed to know about transferring, walking with a walker, walking with crutch. Well, I taught myself how to walk with crutches and how to walk up and down stairs. But there is no therapist here in this area physical therapist that works with amputees, lower limb amputees. So I've been to physical therapy, yes, but it wasn't anything that I found beneficial. Like I was told to walk 20 minutes a day by one physical therapist. And the problem was walking to begin with. So that, just things like that, for example. Just no on hand, no practical experience with amputees. So there's really no therapy around here.
And that's obviously that's a nationwide problem, right? I mean, we say it again and again and again that amputees make up less than 1% of the population in our country here. And so if you think about it, who here has ever experienced back pain? Everybody better raise their hand. Is there anybody that's not ever had back pain? 100% of the people have back pain. So physical therapists are obviously very well versed in doing procedures that are so much more common. But when we come into something that's so specialized like prosthetics, we often see it's hard because physical therapists just don't get exposed to it very much. So we're very strong advocates of physical therapy. We think very highly of it, but we also think maybe there should be some initiatives and some things to help increase the education that they have and the exposure that they have to this so that there are more of them that can help, the growing demand that's really out there.
I actually offered myself.
I wish your story was more, I guess I don't wish your story was more unique. I wish your story didn't happen at all, but it's not an uncommon thing for us to hear, Cheryl.
That's good to know. I'm in good company.
Was there somebody else that wanted to weigh in?
I saw T Cole. What is it Terry Cole? T Cole?
Oh, Coleman.
Coleman. Okay,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm a left below the knee amputee. I have the same date as Stephen, on July 26th. I have from CRPS. I have CRPS and now both feet, and I'm waiting for my second amputation on the right side, April 11th. But I'm on the wait list to go earlier.
Okay. How long did you deal with your CRPS before talking about amputation?
2 years. 2 years, from 21 to 23.
Okay, that's a long time. And for those unfamiliar with the acronym, so CRPS stands for Chronic Regional Pain Syndrome. If you wouldn't mind just talking about your experience over those couple of years and maybe touching on quality of life a little bit, because I know that makes a big difference of making that decision and kind of what your journey looked like coming to that.
Well, I became vaccinated after, in the middle of COVID, and then I returned back to the gym, and then all of a sudden, I couldn't walk at all with my left foot. And then about a month later, it moved into my right. And so for the first year, from 21 to 22, I guess I was able to do some things. I couldn't walk on either foot, but I was able to swim a little bit, and I was able to roll on my wheelchair like 7 miles. And then as it's gotten progressively worse, from 22 to 23, before I found my surgeon, I was pretty much bedridden with CRPS and advanced stages of CRPS in both feet. And so so the plan was to amputate my left, and then go, get that good, and then go move to the right. And there was just a few hiccups, like my internal stitches kind of prevented me from healing my incision for a little bit. And then at 3 months, I moved through prosthetics, and then that took a long time. And then by the time I talked to the doctor, it was like 3 months to wait for the next surgery. So it's really just dragged on. So my surgery date is April 11th for the right. And at this point, I think I can walk actually very well with my walker and the one leg, but I I am concerned about the bottom part of my tibia. It seems to be kind of protruding. I have a small little limb at this point, probably because I put so much weight through it because I put my entire body through that one amputated leg. So, and then also the more I hold my right foot down, the worse it's getting. So pretty much it's elevated and my right, and other than when I'm trying to walk, and I am walking well, and I can't wait to have the right one done so I can get a prosthetic for both sides.
I say, so you're not weight bearing on the right foot at all then? You're putting all the weight through the prosthesis.
Yeah, I haven't been able to weight bear on either foot well, now on the right since July 21.
Wow.
Okay. And it sounds like you've done pretty well with the prosthesis on the left.
I mean, I've had to work really hard at making some adjustments. I do have a little spot in the front bottom part of the tibia that I'm concerned about. I use A&D ointment. It's, it is definitely, my stump is pretty small and my tibia is definitely sticking out on the inside, there's a lot of atrophy. And so, I think it needs to be, I think where I got my socket made, they did the computer generated ones, not the ones that are like forming to your legs. And so I think just padding and stuff really isn't enough. It's just too difficult. I think I need my socket redone on my left and a whole new situation on my right as soon as I get amputated.
Mm-hmm.
Did I explain that well?
Yeah, very well. And I mean, a lot of it too, with that shape change, that atrophy over a period of time, with your amputation being in July, that's common. We expect to see a lot of that change, a lot of the atrophy of the soft tissue as the limb starts to stabilize in volume. And so the shape of the limb changes, and we typically initially fit what's called a preparatory prosthesis. Is what most people start with, knowing that it's going to be something that's used over a short period of time, anticipating that the limb's going to change and stabilize as you're all working through the rehabilitation process, that your demands will change as you gain strength, kind of start to work with therapy and utilize the prosthesis. And so that first prosthesis is built almost with the intention of understanding that we know things are going to change pretty quickly in a short period of time. And then something needs to be built in order to keep up with your demands and as your limb changes. So that socket fit is so intimate and so important in terms of having a good fit to make sure that you're not getting pain on the distal end of your bone, kind of that bottom part of your bone. And that as that atrophy occurs, things settle down into the socket. And if the shape's changing, even adding that sock ply and trying to layer up on socks doesn't always help, because there's been so much change with the overall shape of your limb compared to the socket that they don't fit together as well anymore.
Exactly. No matter how, I'm in like 10 ply, I've been padded twice, I'm still getting rubbing, and I'm very hesitant to use it because I don't really want to end up with it needing a revision before I get my amputated on the other side. I don't want to mess things up at this point. So really, I'm just biding time to get my right done so then I can get it all redone, both sides.
Right.
So.
Good. Well, thank you for sharing all of that with us.
Thank you. Thanks.
And then going through other introductions here, Sean, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Okay, my name is Sean, of course. I'm from New Jersey. I had my right below knee amputation a little over a year ago. I'm ran into some roadblocks along the way, but tomorrow I'm getting my new leg, so I'm excited about that. Don't ask me about it because all I've been told is it's much better, and the ankle is going to be much better, and it's going to help me. I was walking. I had been off my feet for about 18 months, so walking didn't come, like riding a bike. But I started to do it, and then I got hit with that I needed triple bypass surgery. So I had that done about 2 months ago, and getting back into the swing of things. And I should be, I'm hoping to, going back to physical therapy. They want me doing physical therapy and cardiac therapy at the same time. Hoping, to be walking in, in a 2 months, 3 months time. And then my biggest goal is I coach wrestling, and I'm hoping that 2025 I'm back on the mat coaching wrestling.
Awesome. Do you coach in the high school level?
I coach the middle school, and I just help out the high school.
Okay, nice. And that's
Well, New
your
Jersey
body.
State wrestling is no joke.
No, it's not. It's not.
Not at all. You guys have a reputation out there.
Yes, yeah. It's I'm very, very proud of that. And as a matter of fact, it was funny because I went this Saturday to a match. A kid that I at another school that I used to coach, he got his 100th victory. Then I went to another match after that for another kid that was going to get his 100th victory, and then I came home and was watching college wrestling all day, and my wife was ready to kill me.
Right.
Well, Sean, it sounds like your body has been through a lot with the triple bypass in the last couple of months. So as you start back in physical therapy, remember to show yourself grace along the way as you start to rebuild that strength and that endurance and stamina with everything, that it takes time. And if you put in the work, it helps to reach those goals. So continuing in physical therapy, if things start not fitting well, talk to your prosthetist, keep up with the socket fit, and your goals will come.
Well, I went last week. I contacted her when I think last Wednesday morning, and I just told her that the socket, I need more padding in it, and she said, "Come on in." So I did, and that's when she told me we were waiting on insurance for the new leg, and she said, if the new you're approved, we started ordering all the parts, and we'll, sometime next week, which is tomorrow, we'll have you come in and build it. But after she adjusted this socket, and I gotta say one thing, I'm very, very lucky in that my prosthetist and my physical therapist are right next door to each other. So
Very good.
very lucky with that. And she had me walking in the parallel bars, and she said, you walk like Frankenstein. You need to walk a little, more from your knees. You're walking from your hips. And then I did that, and I started walking a little better. And then she told me to walk with one hand holding the parallel bar, and I did that. And then she gave me a cane, and I walked and did that. And then finally she said, "Now do it with nothing," and made a couple of passes. And I was excited because you know what? It was the beginning, and I know, I still have work to do, and we're going to get it done. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, that's very convenient having your prosthetist and physical therapy right next to each other.
Yes.
I'm sure, is the relationship between the two pretty close that they'll jump in on appointments?
Well, I am the first amputee for that this practice, and so they made me a priority. Now all the therapists there are versed, of course, in school with amputees, and I've worked with them before. And I actually went to another physical therapist who was recommended for me just to see if, keep mine honest. And I was actually getting more because I'm getting, I get special treatment. I've been featured on the Facebook and Instagram pages and stuff like that. So both groups are kind of featuring me, which I like.
Good. And I know, like you said, when they brought up almost like a Frankenstein walk of trying to make things feel a little bit more fluid, a little bit more natural. One of the big pointers that we like to give people early on is trying to watch yourself walking as much as possible. So if you're walking into the grocery store and you see windows, or if they have the cameras, or even hanging a mirror at the end of your hallway, because there's things that as your body's trying to recenter, and if you've been using a walker on one leg during initial rehabilitation, waiting for things to heal in your prosthesis, your weight starts to shift. And so the more that you can look and watch yourself walk, you pick up on some of those cues of, okay, I'm not shifting my weight, or I can see myself cheating myself off the toe, or it's a little bit more of a visual cue that helps you pick up on a lot of those things that you can kind of translate them into how you're walking in order to improve your walk on your prosthesis too.
Yeah, one of the things she picked up, she said I need to do two things, well, three things besides, at the knees, heel toe. She said you're not going from heel to toe, and you're taking big steps, take smaller steps and stuff like that. And it was funny because today one of the Instagram amputees that I follow, she was actually pointing out the heel toe, and so it made me feel good. And then kind of right now I kind of, as you can imagine, until I get the okay with the cardiologist that my chest is healed, I don't want to fall. I don't want to fall. So just lightly walk in the walker and practice heel to toe. So.
And heel to toe is important, Sean. But as a wrestler, I wanted to tell you it's in your hips. Keep your hips up. And
Well,
it is. So much of that, where you're going to be driving and creating that momentum and all that stuff, you want to think about using your core, using your hips to drive with. And it's a lot of the same principles as wrestling. If you think in the same terms of your hips are going to drive the rest of your body, where your hips go is where everything else goes. So if you can think that way, it'll be real beneficial to you.
Well, my prosthetist, he constantly with that, and glutes. That's the hammers it in my glutes. And it was pretty funny because him and the one of the assistants at one of the sessions, they said, okay, over under 4 that we have to tell Sean glutes. And and it's funny because they said that once, and now I make sure, it's probably down to 1 time. So.
Great. Well, thanks for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Victor, can I have you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is, I'm sorry. Am I talking over someone?
Oh, we're going to have Victor introduce himself, and then I'll have you introduce yourself next.
Okay.
Well, my name's Victor. Right below knee amputation on September the 25th of last year. My prosthetist and surgeon actually pushed me to go faster than I should have, and ended up with a sore on the tip of my residual limb. And yesterday I had surgery where they went in and put Strivex, which is a synthetic skin graft. And so I've got wound vac on now. When I was walking, when I shouldn't have been, I was getting around pretty good. And it was only like 3 weeks after I got out of the hospital. So it's just been an uphill battle from the get-go, actually. So I just wait and see what happens next.
How have things started to heal up now? Are they moving in a positive direction and starting to heal?
Well, the wound itself was 6.5 centimeters long by 3.5 centimeters wide, and the spot that she done yesterday was 4 by 2.5. So it is healing. Just not fast enough.
Mhm. So I just wanted to say real sorry to hear about, your experience. And obviously any times, especially when you're starting to, when you're trying to get some momentum and get things going, these setbacks can be a lot. But I'm sure everybody on here, on the phone can tell you that, how important the perseverance is. Just kind of having that attitude of no matter what challenge you're faced with, that 90% of recovery is going to be right here. And it's going to be right there, and having that attitude of knowing that I'm going to beat this thing and I'm going to do what I need to do. So right now, what you need to do is listen to your body, obviously sit back, let the doctors clear the wound and have your limb healed up. But when that happens, the setback will be behind you again, and it's a new start. So again, sorry to hear that happened, but if there's any questions or anything you have, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thanks. One thing is with me having to hop a lot with my walker, my left knee is starting to give me problems. So now my therapist, the physical therapist that I'm going to now, she's got it to where I don't use it a lot as far as hopping unless I just have to. But stretching and keeping my core, build my core up and stuff. So, I mean, there is some positives that's coming out, but not as many as I wanted to, that I wanted. So, but when I go back to my prosthetist, I'll definitely have to have another socket made because my limb has changed completely. It won't even go in a big opening. I've got a liner in it, and I can take the liner out and put socks on. But when I take the liner out, my limb still won't even go nowhere in it at all. So hopefully it'll
it's not
get better.
it's not uncommon to have fluid buildup in your limb kind of initially while you're going through these things. And I think you'll be surprised at how fast that once you're healed up and you can start putting compression back on your limb, how quickly it shapes back down. It happens a lot faster, like after it's already happened the first time. So
Okay.
so you're right. You may need to be refit for a prosthesis, but I wouldn't be wholly surprised if your limb doesn't come back to a really close to the same size and shape that it was before.
Okay.
Yep.
And I know that healing process never happens as quickly as anybody wants it to. And it's just your job right now is to let things heal and recover and do what you can and keep them moving in a good direction and just take it one day at a time.
Right.
Evening, Nope. Can I just ask?
Hi, can I go?
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Tim Coleman. I'm from Doylestown, Pennsylvania. I'm above the right knee amputee. My 3-year anniversary of my last operation is April 23rd of this year. We've got this coming up here. It'll be 3 years. I have I'm fortunate. My residual limb, which I call Sally, is good. I've been very fortunate and lucky that way. My prosthetist and my current PT talk to each other. And so the communication is very good, which has helped a lot. My first PT did not know about amputees. So I wasted a year, I think, with them because one that knew what they were doing actually told me 180-degree different recommendations, and they actually work. My biggest issue now is I just am afraid of falling. In the first 24 months, I fell 21 times. Unfortunately, somewhere along that line, I fractured two vertebrae. Because I was in a hospital for so long, they took all these x-rays and whatever, so they have a comparison. And so I think that's the basis of part of my fear. I can get around. I can do almost anything in a wheelchair except hang high pictures. I can't, going around with my prosthesis with the walker, it's good. I really should be with a cane or whatever. But I'm afraid of falling. I'm the greatest ass bumper in the world. So, if I fall, I know how to fall and I know how to get up onto a chair or a bench or whatever. But in the community, how do you know where the bench is? So I mean, that's part of it. I'm trying to build up my strength so I can be able to get up off the ground without assistance, without a chair. So I go to the Y gym 3 times a week. The fourth time I go into the pool. Unfortunately, one of the times I went into the pool last year, it was camp time, and evidently little kids probably whatever did in the pool, and I got a bacterial infection on my left leg, which then went into a bone infection, which I needed infusions for 2 months, several times a day. But it's better now, so it's all good things. I got to look at all the positive things and get over my fear of falling.
Tim, I remember you joining us at one of the step ups with Scott and Nate before too. And you mentioned that you're seeing a new physical therapist now. Do you feel the number of falls been as frequent as it had been before? Or do you feel like that's starting to make up?
Since the 20th, in terms of fall, 21st fall, in the 24 months. And it's been almost a year. April 23rd is, the 3rd-year anniversary. But it's still in my head. The first 20 or whatever, the first number of falls, as long as I could figure out what idiot thing I did of why I fell, I was good. That last one and I figured out what I did, idiotic thing I did, but it's just in my head. I even asked my primary about what do you think about getting hypnotized, and he laughed his ass.
But I mean, overcoming, that's a huge mental block. And it's something that with that number of falls that you've had, anybody would be hesitant of falling. And it's a fear that should be expected. And trying to overcome that of, okay, you had 2 years where you were having that number of falls consistently. And now you have to spend the time of, so how long has it been since your last fall?
About a year.
About a year.
And that's why I have no excuse. The PT place I go to that knows about amputees at St. Luke's in Quakerstown, Pennsylvania, I call them Peter Pan straps, straps on the ceiling, and you can walk around, and God forbid if you fall, you can't fall. I've never used them. It's on me, but they never had to support me falling, but I still felt afraid. So
yeah, just that little bit of being on edge of it's at the back of your mind all the time, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'll get over it, but I think once I'll be able to get up off the floor without the need of ass bumping, I think I'll be okay. But that's what I'm working on now.
Good. And working in physical therapy, working with them on the tools that you need to be able to feel more confident and building that up of, okay, it's been a while. I'm starting to do better on my prosthesis. I'm not falling as frequently, and starting to build that trust. It'll take a period of time, and rely on the walker. I talk with a lot of my patients of, I had a patient that I probably would have expected him to start relying on a cane, but he didn't feel quite comfortable with it. But he walked great with the cane. But when he was out in the community, he felt more comfortable with a walker and continued to use a walker for about 6 months, and then started using the cane more and more in physical therapy. But your safety and what you feel comfortable with and how stable you feel is kind of the number one driving factor. So not setting a timeline to getting rid of that assistive device of, if you feel more comfortable using the walker, build up your confidence using the walker. And then you might notice that, okay, I'm putting a little bit less weight through my hands. I'm relying on the walker a little bit less. I can hold on to something and move it with one hand. And as you start to reduce your reliance on that, then you might start using the cane maybe inside the house or at physical therapy and in more of those controlled environments. And so it's very much a progression over time, but whatever you feel most comfortable with using is going to be the number one kind of dictator of what that progression looks like, of having somebody like in physical therapy where they can comfortably push those boundaries where they know that you're safe. And then you start to build up that confidence of, okay, I can do this. I'm not relying on them as much. They're not standing as close behind me. I feel more comfortable with this. I've been able to do it here. That you start to kind of expand on that. And it's a progression over time, but it takes a lot of time and hard work to make that progression.
Right, and that's why I go to the gym, and I got a physical trainer or whatever they're called, to how do you say, work me out. So I do, 2 of the times I go to the gym with a wife, she works me out, and so hopefully my strength will continue to improve, and I'm blessed. My residual is fine. The prosthesis, which is my second one, fits well. My prosthesis has a great communication with the PT. So there's a lot of, everything is good. I don't have the PT person I had last year. So yeah, it's all on me at this point.
Tim, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Have you tried, they're called loft strand crutches, or some people call them forearm crutches?
Yes,
Do you use those in physical therapy at all?
yes.
Okay.
And I try to use it, here at my house, but I just don't feel, I feel shaky. However, and I got plastic ones for a number of reasons. I have very thin skin, and the metal ones were cutting into it. But I use the plastic ones to get into the pool, and then I go to different pool exercise classes, one for my arthritis and another one just to work out. And the plastic arm things work great in the pool.
And that's good. I think the forearm crutches are good. You said you were hoping to walk with a cane. The forearm crutches can be a good progression towards that, and a good way to help, build confidence going from a walker instead of going right from the walker to the cane. They're a real good intermediate step. Because one thing I just wanted to say about confidence is we have to remember confidence comes from consistent, sustained ability. So until our bodies can have that confirmation bias from sustained and consistent ability, till our brains can see our bodies do this repeatedly and successfully, we have a defense mechanism that's built in that doesn't allow us to be confident, especially once that gets shaken a little bit. So it just sounds like, I know it's a long process, but it sounds like from the first time that we talked to you to now, it sounds like you're in a lot better care. It sounds like you have a lot better pathway to getting to that. And it sounds like you have a more of a mindset of having the ability to do it, to consciously have the ability to do it than when we first talked. So this is good. These are good steps.
Yes, try again. Now, in
Yes.
terms of the other group that you all have, with the exercises, can someone send me a link so I can join you next time?
Yes, we don't have anything scheduled right now, but we will make sure that we get that sent to you.
I
For sure.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And we look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you.
And then
Can I
Ben, I saw you're heading back to work soon, so if you can introduce yourself to the
Yeah.
group.
No problem. Hey, my name's Ben. I've been an amputee for about 8 years now. Most of them I've worked with. I've been up there with Bremer Prosthetics, and then I just recently left them last year because I moved back down to my hometown, Indiana, and it's been a journey. And you guys have been a great source for me. I love you guys, and these group chats just help me stay in contact with you. And I'm a below the knee amputee. I should have said that, but I've had some weight gain, and I'm experiencing issues with my leg because of that. Because I'm now weighing more than I did when this leg was made, and I'm just waiting to get back under insured so I can get me a new leg.
And that, I mean, that makes a big difference of it's easier to make the socket smaller, but trying to make the socket bigger and to accommodate that, we don't really have a ton of options with that. And so it can cause a lot of issues. Like do you have any sores on your limb right now? Any like ingrown, like the little cysts?
I've had one, and I mean, it's probably going to upset you, since that 5K, right there right where on the tip of my tibia. And it comes, and I was almost gone. Then I had a bad day, and then boom, his back's open. And I just split my leg liner just last week. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong there, but so I got I think they're called the sheaths. I got that under the liner and one over the liner, just so like where my skin's exposed to the rubber liner isn't rubbing raw.
Okay.
Well, a lot of times too, Ben, if that liner does have a split, that even just the split in the liner could be causing the sore or keeping it from healing up. So that's something that it could be replaced, and that we can make sure that Scott knows about that.
I talked to the second.
Oh,
I can't think of her name about this morning because we're trying to get that covered right now.
Okay, good.
I'm here until the 21st. So if I need to get a new one ordered, just try to get that process before the 21st.
Right.
When I leave this job.
Okay.
I'll give them a call again tomorrow.
Go ahead, Mike. I think it's Mike.
Nope,
Micah, you're on mute.
You're
though.
muted.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Much better.
Right. I'm wearing my prosthetic most of the day, and it's just that when I sort of go to bed now and I get into bed, my phantom foot is sort of overheating and I have to sort of take my other leg out of the bed as well. Is there anything that I can do to remedy that or not?
So there's unfortunately, with phantom pain, there's just lots and lots of different mechanisms that cause phantom pain, right? So with something that's that complicated, there's not one solution for it. There's numerous solutions that sometimes work for this one person, and then another solution that works for somebody else. The first thing that I would ask you is, when you take your prosthesis off, are you putting a shrinker or some sort of compression on your leg?
No.
So that would be the number one thing that I would suggest, is if you can get your hands on a shrinker, when that prosthesis comes off, put the shrinker back on. A lot of times what happens is, your leg is in an enclosed environment all day long with compression, all this pressure on it. So the nerves are getting all this impulse and sending signals to your brain that there's pressure, there's containment, everything is okay. And then all of a sudden the day is over and you take your prosthesis off and that impulse is gone. And your body recognizes that the lack of signal as a painful response. So so wearing that shrinker is the number one way to do it. Now, does that always work? I wish I could say, if you just do this, it'll go away. But that's the number one thing, that if you're not doing that now, I would try. Don't keep your limb uncontained.
Yeah, I'll have to try it, but my prosthetic guy has advised me to wear my shrinker as little as possible now. So I wear it most of the day and then get ready for bed at night. And then when I settle down in bed, it's, you know, that's when I suffer it.
Gotcha. So if they don't want you to be wearing the shrinker, then the next thing would be, I mean, you could talk to your doctor. There are different medications that can help with this. So that would be something that, you know, Abby and I wouldn't be able to give you like a suggestion about what to take or anything like that. But there are medications that you can take that can really stop that impulse. Another thing that people do is alternating heat and cold. So a few 5 to 10 minutes of ice and then 5 to 10 minutes of heat and just changing the impulse. What you're trying to do is you're trying to give that nerve a job. That nerve, it's been severed and now it doesn't have a job anymore. And what do? We don't have a job. We start to make noise, right? So it's making noise for you. So if you can give it a signal, a lot of times that can help to reduce pain. Finally, I mean, the ultimate thing that some people have to do is go and have surgical options to have this done. Now, like I said, that's way down the road. That's if a lot of these other things don't work. But there can be, this could be a signal that there's some growth on the nerve or some other problems that are causing the pain.
Yeah, I mean, I had my amputation in November 22, and come this April, I've got an appointment at the prosthetic where they're going to recast it and do whatever, you know, whether they have to produce another socket or whatever, where I'm getting a bit of excess skin, you know, where my skin's not sort of shrinking as quick, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to be having, you know, because they picked it up last time and saying you're getting a bit of excess skin. So I think I'm going to have some skin removed.
Okay. So that could be a time if you're, especially if you're going to have a revision surgery, that would be a time to talk to them about that and see if they had any ideas or options to help with that too.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
And
Hey,
just
Steve.
one thing to add too with the hot and cold, massaging your limb when you take the prosthesis off, because it's the same thing of trying to give those nerves a job to do, get it used to that little bit of compression. So when you take the socket off, take your liner off, massage your limb a little bit so that those nerves still have some sort of input, and that can help kind of make that transition too as you're getting ready for bed at night.
Right. Yeah, I'll try that tonight. Thank you.
Good.
Go ahead,
Franz.
Buzz. Were you going to weigh in?
Tylenol.
Tylenol.
Right, Steve? Tylenol.
Yeah, remember George? George's favorite thing is Tylenol. Every
Needed
8
my
hours,
handhold
you
to
pop
help.
2.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, guys, I posted something in the chat real quick. I was in a meeting, that Zoom meeting last night about, it's called the Extent Connectors. Have you ever heard of them? It's pretty cool. What you can do is on-snap your foot and change foot. Say you don't want to take your socket off. You want to put pants on. Obviously, it's a pain in the butt to put pants on. It's called the Extent Connectors, and you can easily just snap your foot off and put your foot on. Have you heard about them?
I've seen this product, and there are similar products that have been, you know, kind of available and marketed for, you know, decades. They are good things. I mean, if the one thing to know is that they're not going to be covered by insurances, so it's going to be something that you'll have to pay for out of pocket, or
Okay.
you know, or sweet talk your prosthetist into adding into your setup, but it's not going to be something that's covered by insurance.
See what the company did? The company said they will cover one, but not both. Say they can cover the change of the foot, but if you want a second connector, it won't be covered through insurance or something. Say, because you can disconnect from the socket or from the foot. You can get one, the insurance will cover one, but they will not cover the other one.
I mean, that's a stretch. Let me just say that. There may be some way to find coverage criteria, but it's not going to be I mean, I would have to look into it. In the past, my historical knowledge of it is that it hasn't been. This is a new company that's come out that's trying to promote this, and they have some other products too that they're trying to kind of use to disrupt the market. And so they may be looking at establishing coverage for these things. So I guess I don't want to speak from a position of ignorance. I'm just speaking to what my historical knowledge would be, is that they're not, they haven't been historically covered. But they are good things. I mean, and it does, there's a lot of things like that can simplify your life, and that can be very much an added benefit. So yeah, we like all these things, that anything that can make it easier for somebody to use a prosthesis, we're behind 100%.
Yeah, because they say they are pretty hefty. I think just a little piece connector is like $300 for just a little piece like that.
Right. And so when they say it's covered, they probably mean that your prosthetist will include it in your prosthesis.
Yeah, here's like $300 for this piece, $300 for this piece. Now you got, now your prosthetist will put it together for you.
Right. So I know we have a couple people that we haven't had a chance to introduce themselves, and so we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance. So if we do end up going a little bit past 5, I mean, I think neither Abby or I are going to like cut the call right at 5 o'clock. So don't worry, everybody's going to get their chance. Okay. So Abby, if you want to, I know we had Jeanette and Franz both that haven't been able to say hi yet.
I'd say with that, Franz, would you like to introduce yourself?
Franz, you're on mute, buddy. Franz, you're on mute.
I'm good now. Thank you, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'm 73, would like to live to be in my 80s. I get a new prosthetic fitting every 6 months because I can, and I don't mind it at all. I'm trying to stay ahead of the game. I don't get blisters. I don't have problems. I Zoom a lot because I want to know what other people are doing. And I'm just curious because I'm a left below the knee, but people with above the knee, they have a whole lot more problems. And then not just with the fitting, they have more problems with the knee, and they have a whole lot more problems. But I'm kind of interested to see what's going on in that realm. Okay. Other than that, I'm good. I mean, I just got back from a week's vacation at St. Andrews.
Awesome.
It's like, it's not a problem. I can walk on sand and I can climb roads, and I've got a nice service dog.
Yeah.
Walk 4 miles every morning without problem.
Great. You're doing great for 73.
Right. Franz, I want to ask a question. Do you self-fund a prosthesis every 6 months?
No, it comes from Medicare.
Comes from Medicare. Okay.
I don't get the entire thing. I just get
just the socket, just the fitting,
so
right?
In 7 yeyears, I've accumulated enough to have 2 feet now. So that quick disconnect looks pretty handy, but then a 5/32 T-handled Allen wrench does the same thing. And I'm hoping to have 2 feet, one that I can walk on, and then I'll have another one that is my working foot, because I still work. And like an echelon foot is a great foot, but it doesn't go up a ladder. So anyway, I like to have, and then when I go like hiking, I want firmness. I don't want ease in walking. Above the knee amputees, they really like that echelon foot. And as far as when I look at Mr. Coyle having trouble falling, I right away I think, well, what's causing it? Is he, as if he's above the knee? Is he like stepping on a real small thing can cause his knee to collapse? I don't know. I stay on top of things as best I can. I just stopped in today to see what's going on, Nathan. What's going on?
Well, yeah, well, we're real happy that you did. We're just here. We're here to make sure that we give everybody a chance to make sure that they feel like they're heard, and make sure that we can address people's problems or, things. Sometimes when you talk to your prosthetist or talk to your doctor, it can be a rushed environment and all those things. So we just try to open up a forum so that people can communicate their experiences and what's going on. A lot of the ideas that we want, and when we love the big groups like this, but it seems like we get through introductions and it's been our hour, right? But what we really want to do is make a forum where people can exchange tips and tricks, and people that have, someone like you that's been able to use a prosthesis so successfully can give somebody, oh, I noticed that when I do this thing, it helps me and it makes, or if I do this, then that's not good. So things that, Abby and I, we're certified prosthetists. I mean, we know this job, we know the career, we know what it means to build a prosthesis, but neither one of us use a prosthesis. So that's not an experience that we share with people. So this gives everybody an opportunity to share the experience of using a prosthesis and helps us learn.
Great. Now, my appointments are always an hour. That's not standard?
An hour to an hour. We usually schedule hour and a half appointments but hour appointments. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I can't understand why anybody would feel rushed. I mean,
but
some sort of report.
Some people might have 30-minute appointments. And if you're really if you've had a prosthesis that you've had for 4 years and all of a sudden you're having some problems, you go in to see your prosthetist, and there's a lot of information to gather in that 1 hour period time frame. And you know how it is. You have a list of questions and you know them all as soon as you walk out the door. When you're face to face, you don't think of them. And isn't that the case?
No, not for me. I go every 6 months. I want to have a rapport with my prosthesis provider.
And that's great. That's great.
It's a must, because like I said, I want to be in my 80s and I still want to be active. I do.
Well, great. It sounds like you're on the right track. I mean, I wish that every one of our patients could get a new prosthesis every 6 months. I mean, we know. So I don't want to take too much of Jeanette's time because I want her to have a chance. But do you know that, and I think this is a benefit, so don't take this as the wrong way, but when our soldiers come back from overseas, if they're injured and lose a limb and they go to Walter Reed, they're recast for a new test socket up to every single week. They're getting a new prosthesis. Now, if we know that this is a standard of care that people need, isn't it real sad that insurances don't inherently cover things that we know is the best for people? And they say a lot of people can only get a prosthesis once every 5 years based on their insurance.
Yeah, life expectancy for an amputee is so short that they kind of play the odds. I'm happy if I can go in every 6 months. I really am.
Just being an amputee doesn't change your life expectancy. It doesn't. What's that? Well, but it doesn't. So it inherently doesn't. There are some statistics with diabetes and amputation and the cross section of those two things that do have an impact on life expectancy. But I mean, we see lots of people that well outlive, like you're saying yourself, that well outlive that life expectancy. So, but we work on a lot of advocacy, and we work on, trying to educate Medicare and different insurance payers and all of those things on what is the real world. Sure, some statistic says these numbers, but what's the real world? And what is somebody's experience when they do go to see their prosthetist. So we spend a lot of our time doing those things too. So I guess if there's nothing else, thanks for coming, Franz. We definitely appreciate your input.
Yeah.
We hope you find it valuable and come back to the next one. We love seeing people here.
Okay.
So
I don't want to become argumentative, but when I look at something and they say it's a fact, I only know of certain people that have amputees and or amputations, like during Vietnam. They're all dead now. Let's face the fact. Even if you lose your limb when you're in your teens, your life expectancy is less And when I lost my limb, I tried to buy life insurance and they said no. No, your life expectancy is less. That's just the way it is. And I'm going to live the best I can with what time I've got. So that's just.
I like your attitude, and I agree. I certainly don't want to turn this into something where we're challenging each other, right? That's not the forum for this, because this is a good conversation. It's something that you're going to drive me to look into deeper. So I appreciate that, because you're creating a learning opportunity. And if you come back next time, I'll have some statistics. So I appreciate that. So thank you. Finally, I want to get to Jeanette and let her give a chance to introduce herself and tell her story and make sure that she's heard.
Can you guys see me?
We can hear you.
Okay, wait a second.
We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay. So,
There
how
you
y'all
go.
doing? Hello.
We're good.
All right. So, since I've been watching y'all do y'all step ups and things like that, I've been an amputee almost 4 years. I just found out that there was levels K1, 2, 3, and 4 by watching y'all. I never knew anything about that. My prosthesis, never anything. I went from wearing the leg with the Velcro kind that you pull up, socket, till him just putting me into this new socket, which I've never been able to walk in. When I did walk in it, my leg came out. Now I'm going tomorrow to be fitted for a new shrinker, but I still never walked without walking out of it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
that's
never
no good.
even knew there was such thing as a K1, 2, 3, and 4 until I tried to sign up for the Amputee Coalition Lead Advocate Program. And then I seen this program about the microchip lower limbs stuff they're having. And I've been with this guy almost 4 years. Never knew anything about there was a K1, 2, 3, and 4. Never knew anything about it till I started watching y'all. I've learned more from y'all and what kind of questions to ask when I go, because I'm new to it, and I know they say y'all got a location in Lansing. I wish I knew the schedule for when y'all come to Lansing, so that I live in Battle Creek. But when the weather gets nice, I'll be love to come there, because I really want to meet y'all, and I'm so excited to be a part of this, because to know that a prosthesis is an amputee and does what he does, I'm excited. I wish I could switch from hangers to there. That's what I wish.
Well, we're in our Lansing office every Tuesday.
Well, let me ask you something. How long do you have to be with somebody to switch?
There's you have the ability to choose who builds your prosthesis all the time. So you don't have to spend any amount of time with someone. If you have the ability to choose who builds your prosthesis.
Like I said, he gave me this new thing. It's supposed to be like an air socket. Every time I put it on, he tells me to do like this, and it's like that. It's never stayed on for me to walk the whole thing.
So is it like a suction system or vacuum system?
Yeah,
it sounds like a suction system.
Yeah. You know, with
Suction.
the battery. Yeah, this right here. You see this little thing right there on the side?
Yeah.
Now he takes it off and tells me he can tell when my leg is all the way down. But if I'm putting it on myself, how can I see it? And
so you should be able, Jeanette, to unscrew that valve should thread out. You should be able to screw that the center part out, and then you can use your finger to feel if your leg is all the way down there or not. And if it's not all the way down there, then you want to make sure you push deeper and then screw it back in.
Thank you so much. I did not know.
Yep. So that's something that you can do that yourself. Obviously, you can't see it if your leg's in there all the way, but you should be able to feel if your leg is all the way kind of touching right up to the valve, or if there's some gap, like some space where you can fit your finger in the socket.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, yeah, because he actually put some powder down in here. The last time I put it on to try to walk, and it stayed on. But as I was walking, I came right out of it. I've never had no good performance in this leg. I kind of wish he would have left the Velcro one on, because I at least was able to take more steps and it didn't come off. I'm kind of scared of this.
Right. Right.
Because it comes right out. What if I ain't suction all the way in? When he had me
Right.
walking the parallel bars, I walked out of it.
Yeah,
That's
that
scary.
I mean, if it doesn't stay on, it doesn't. That's an unsafe condition. Right. That's definitely
Exactly.
not safe.
So I am so glad I ran across y'all, because I never knew nothing about, all the different, like y'all, the step up programs, and it's just so much information I have got from watching this. Can I pronounce it for me so I can see it right? Burmish? That's it, right?
Brim prosthetics.
Okay. So what I mentioned to him about y'all one day, I tried to show him, and he said that was advertisement. I said, no, I watch these people personally. He tried to tell me that I was watching advertisement. Seriously, he told me I said I found y'all on Facebook. He's trying to tell me that I'm watching advertisements. That's what he
I think
told me.
anybody that's come to our groups long enough knows that we don't spend our time self-promoting. That's one thing that we
and the thing is, y'all talking to me. I talk more with y'all than I do with him.
You should tell him next time you should invite him to the meeting. You should
I'm
invite him on over.
I'm going to write this all down. When I go tomorrow, I'm going to show him where he can see this is where I attended and what I found out, because I kept telling him I was getting depressed, because I've seen people coming out of his office been doing this. They're a year and a half since they've been an amputee, and they walking straight out of his office. I'm trying to figure out what kind of leg they got. They ain't came out their leg.
Have you ever thought of going to a pin lock? Have you ever been in a pin lock system?
All I know is about the one you put it through the Velcro and scrap it up. And
I mean, with pin lock, there's a thing called the pin lock where it locks, and if you hear that pin click, your leg's not coming off. You can do whatever. Your leg's not coming off with a pin lock.
Well, see, nobody never told me. Since I've been in groups, I'm finding other amputees that's telling me about the different sockets. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say if you really want to make sure your leg ain't coming off, go to a pin lock. I have a pin lock. It's amazing. And I do crazy stuff.
Okay, then that sounds good. I think I met you in another life too, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm in all of them. I do ones on Sunday, Monday, Thursday.
The
I'm all
Sunday
over.
night one. Yeah, Sunday Night Live. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I want to appreciate y'all for giving me the information that you, and I'm going to be asking about why I can't have a pin lock. I want to try that, because he just gave me this, and I didn't even know nothing about it. He said, you're going to get an upgrade. I didn't know it was going to be something that I can't even walk with.
For you, it's a downgrade.
I'm going to walk, have it on, and walk out of it and in the public and fall. Because if I did it in your office, it's going to happen in the streets.
If it was me, now is when I would change providers. Right now, you've been unsatisfied with this guy. If you can change providers, today would be the good time, because you need to walk. You need to be able to stand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's had this time, and he's not accomplished that. And then the second thing, after you get your new provider, talk to your doctor, and he'll write your script, but he'll also write you a script for PT. You need to learn to walk with your new leg.
Exactly. So let me ask you something. Do y'all take United Health Insurance? Because that's what I got. I have United Health Insurance, Part A, B, C, and D, and Medicaid. I just need to know if y'all accept it. I'm willing to come to Lansing.
I honestly, Jeanette, I do not know all the insurance contracts that we take and don't take. We have other So I don't want to say one way or the other because I'm just not 100% certain. We have one. I try to not focus. Even though I'm the owner of the business, I try to not focus on that aspect of things because I don't want to like make me treat one person one way and somebody else a different way. So I have other people that handle that side of things.
But
so
is there
that
a
when
phone number
see the
where I
patient-
can contact the company myself?
Yes, let me give you a good phone number to call. The phone number to our office is 810.
Hold on.
73. Go ahead.
Lord Jesus. Okay, just had a different color pen. Okay. 810
733
733
3375.
3375. That sounds like Flint and Erica.
That is our Flint office, but if you call that office, we can make sure that we get you set up in the right place.
I
That's
sure
the place
appreciate
where we get
it.
the most answers. Right.
Thank you so much. Y'all been a blessing. Just me watching y'all has been a blessing.
And I wanted to go back to Steve's point about the pin just really quick. We do fit a lot of above the knee amputees with pin locking systems. But there is a level of complication with lining the pin up with the hole in the socket that can be frustrating for people. So it's not everyone loves it. Some people do love it, but not everybody loves it at the above the knee level. So, but that doesn't mean that there's not an option out there that isn't going to fall off your leg. That's really the take home. And I think that Ron's really trying to get at is if your leg is falling off, time to do something now.
Exactly. Because I don't never go or hear from them unless I'm complaining and going through something like, you know what, it's been too long. I'm just now finna go back to physical therapy because the person he sent me to 2 different therapy and they all left. Once they left, I stopped going to PT because I got comfortable with them. So I told them, I said, well, you know, everybody sent me to, they all done left. So I'm trying to go back again. I'm doing an evaluation on Friday to try to go back to physical therapy because I told them at this point I'm starting to get depressed because I'm seeing people that's new amputees walking and I don't feel I'm succeeding. You know, even the encourager needs to be encouraged and I need to be encouraged because when I see other people walking and I'm steady trying to encourage people, that gives me a down feeling, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
and that you've been putting in the work and have seen that success, and then now that your socket's not fitting well, that you know what it's supposed to be like. And I know we talk a lot with our patients of trying to gauge kind of where things are at as a baseline. And once you get that peak might continue to grow and try to be a little bit better with each socket that we make. And as you get stronger and kind of understand the fit of your prosthesis. But even as we're going through the fitting process, I'll talk a lot with patients, and I know Nate talks a lot with his patients of, okay, where's that baseline? How comfortable are things? Where's your control at? And then once you know where things have been at, when they start to get below that, it's incredibly more frustrating because you've seen the other side of it. So I know it takes
that. I have not had that type of connection since I've been an amputee. It's always me calling because I'm frustrated because it ain't working. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I feel like I've been dropped or lost in between the cracks because it's me initiating coming there. I'm like, you know what? It's been almost a year. I still ain't walking. You know, and he was like, well, we'll make an appointment. And I just, at this point, after watching Step Up and watching all these different people, I feel it's time for me to change. I just feel like that.
You got to do what's best for you. That's what
exactly.
That's what I'm trying to do. I want to be active. I want to be.
Me too. Now I created this group. I'm trying to work, and then I'm always trying to encourage other people. But this gets me down because everybody I'm encouraging, they walking already, okay? And I'm not. So even the encourager need to be encouraged.
And that a lot of the whole purpose of a lot of these is giving you the tools to be able to advocate for yourself. of talking to your prosthetist, knowing the questions to ask, helping find the best fit. And if that's not it, then going and getting a second opinion and finding the right place so that you can have the outcomes that you're looking for.
Exactly, because if I would have never came across y'all, I wouldn't even knew the questions to ask. Okay. I didn't even know anything about, the K8 or K1 through 4. I knew nothing about that. So I was going to address them with that tomorrow because I haven't seen them since in a couple of months and the leg still ain't been able to do nothing for me. So that's why I say tomorrow I was going to address them and ask them why haven't, where's I'm at? I mean, I hear people talking about K1, 2, 3, and 4. Where am I? Because you never addressed it or told me anything about it. Oh my goodness. Anyway,
Well, I hope that you have a productive conversation. And as Nate said, go ahead, reach out, and we're happy to continue to answer any questions too.
Okay. So I'll be calling you guys in the morning. Have a blessed night. Thank y'all for listening and for the information.
Yeah, if the guy don't agree with you, just take your prosthetic foot and slap him over the head with it and give it to him. Tell him it's no good. Just throw the leg at him and tell him to keep it.
All right, now, Steve.
That Steve does not represent Bremer Prosthetics in his messaging.
Right. I've met Steve before in another live on Sunday evenings.
Okay, so time out. We now towards the end. Where's my buddy? Where's Bear? Is Bear around? I haven't seen Bear in months.
I know, Bear. Scott and I weren't scheduled to be on this call today, so Bear's not here. So sorry about that, Steve. But I know Mike. Before I want to get back to that, but Mike had his hand up a minute ago when I saw it. I wanted to make sure that he got a chance to weigh back in.
Mike, you're on mute.
Oh, you're still on mute.
You can unmute and it keeps popping up.
That's better.
I was just saying for myself, I've got this next prosthetic meeting in April, and seeing as my mum's suffering with dementia, and I don't know whether in America you've got it as well, but there's walk a kilometre a day in February, and I'm walking around my local woodlands, and I'm walking between 2 and 3 kilometres, and then I'm sort of using my leg, and then when I needed to add another sock, I add another sock, but I know the next one, it just won't feel right when I add it. So I'm just trying to not use my leg now much tonight until I get washed and go to bed. So it's just the comfort of the fit of when I add, a number of socks, So just to encourage that lady, I'm doing it, and walk as much as you can, and I'm doing it to get out the house as well. So it's serving me as much good reason as raising awareness of a terrible disease sort of thing.
Right. So obviously healthcare, in the UK versus in the United States is going to be very different, right? In the way that we do this. So in the United States, where, if you're having a problem with your prosthesis, you're able to call your provider and make a routine appointment. Unlike having, and not having to wait from February until, April or down the road. So that's something that is just very different in our healthcare systems.
I mean, I am able to do it over here, phone the prosthetic centre up and make an appointment. And I had one a couple of weeks ago, and they just added more padding or leather or whatever it is on the inside, and they just said next time it'll be a new socket.
Okay.
And then, so it's just that sort of grey area, I suppose you can call it, where I shrunk down a bit too much, and just adding the socks, it don't feel normal to me.
Right.
I'll put another
Well,
sock on.
Needs to be changed.
And when you think about your limb, there's areas of your limb that are soft and padded. There are areas that are bony. When your limb shrinks down, it doesn't shrink down uniformly. It doesn't keep one shape and just get smaller like the socks would work for. So there are times when your limb it changes shape more at the bottom than at the top, and so adding the socks doesn't work. So it's not uncommon for socks to just stop being effective at some point when you see the change in the physiology of your limb. It's an unfortunate part of the it's an unfortunate time to be caught in, but it's not uncommon.
Yeah, and I suppose that's why the socket is the main thing, because the shape of your limb's changing. And April can't come quick enough at the moment.
Right.
But that's just me where I'm at the moment,
I'm glad to hear you're getting out and doing the walking in the feet.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of paths in England.
Yeah. So, like I say, I'm doing it for a good reason, to raise awareness for my mum's cause, but I'm just doing it as much for myself, sort of thing. To get out and about, because I do fish, so I do want to be able to walk on uneven surfaces, put it that way. So I want to get back to fishing.
Good. The last thing I saw, we had a comment here from one of our Facebook viewers. Is it true that a prosthesis should always be pain-free? And so I want to touch on that a little bit too here. So one of the things is with that, I know we have a lot of people that have come in and will make a comment of, somebody said, I should always be in pain. I should always expect a certain level of pain. I just am going to have to learn to deal with this. You should be able to get a fit that's comfortable for you, that you can wear every day. And if there's something like a pressure point, a specific area of pain, of trying to figure out the underlying cause of that. And a lot of it can be due to the socket fit, of if you need to change the shape of the socket, make adjustments, all of that. Or if there are there's a lot of things that can go with the nerve and underlying tissues of, as things settle in, you can develop neuromas. There can be underlying kind of bone spurs that develop. And some of those can be accommodated in the fit of your socket. And some of them might require surgery or other interventions that can be discussed with your doctor. But trying to manage that and work with your prosthetist of, you should be able to get around comfortably throughout the day on your prosthesis.
Yeah, I'd like to say that pain-free is always our goal. We just like any goal, we can't hit it 100% of the time. I mean, there are some times where there are complications inside someone's body, or there are other factors that are involved with pain that make it so that we can't just grind inside the socket, or we can't just make a change and make pain go away. But we should always be striving for the prosthesis to be pain-free. We never want to settle for pain, is the way that I would like to term that. Is there anybody on the call that would like to weigh in on that?
Hey, Nathan, I'll just say one thing. I'm a below the knee, and most below the knees, you have two bones. And that one is, when they cut them off, one's a little shorter than the other one. So then that bends in as your muscle atrophies, that bone moves. And about year 3 after I had lost my leg, that pain was really bad. You'd get a new sleeve on, and it would just press that in. And that's just a part of that bone moving. And so is it going to be pain-free? It wasn't for me, but it was, at least I knew what was happening. It wasn't like, and the only pain that I really, really worry about is like skin pain, something going on my skin, because that just scares me to see people with blisters and skin infections. So.
Exactly. And I think that's I think you hit the nail on the head. You know, for you, you had an experience where your fibula was contacting your tibia. It's a very painful experience. Some other people, even below the knee, are able their physiology just is set up so that that doesn't occur. So it's always our goal for the prosthesis to be pain free, but we can't. That's not something that we promise to people. We promise to continue to try to mitigate your pain, make it as tolerable as possible, make the experience as good as it can possibly be. But we can't promise that. I mean, I don't wear a prosthesis, and there are some days where my shoe rubs my foot the wrong way, and it's painful. It's the same pair of shoes that it was the day before. Why is this causing me pain today? But in the prosthesis, it's just that under a magnifying glass, under a microscope. So I think that kind of hit it on the head.
I think going back to establishing kind of that baseline of where are you at? How good have things been? If they start to deviate from that and get worse, then okay, what's the underlying changes? What can be done to try and work through that and see if you can get back to where things were at of where's your baseline at? And things can change over time, especially in underlying tissue structures, nerve, as things kind of shift around, as muscle atrophies. That as things change, of just knowing, okay, working through everything and trying to accommodate it as best as you can, and then looking at options and establishing where that baseline is. And when it starts to get worse from that of, okay, how do we get back to this? What's changed? How can we fix it? All right, any last comments here?
No, thank you very much.
I thank all of you for coming. We really appreciate having a big group like this. It's
You'll have when's
certainly
your next meeting? Next month, or you'll have one, or
I know I really am not sure what our schedule is. It's kind of I'm like I said a few times, I'm a fill-in today, so I wasn't as prepared as normal, and I don't have Bill here in person to hold up his cue card and say, here's when the next meeting is. But I know that everybody on this call is all on. You guys are all on the email list. We'll make sure that gets sent out to everybody. And I think I know that our plan is going to be to prioritize this kind of meeting over the short term, as opposed to the step up meetings. I don't think we'll be doing any step ups until the fall at this point. Because we are excited to announce that we're going to be doing another 5K event this year. So we've set a date for that, which is August 3rd. And you know, last year, anybody that kind of followed us through that would know that last year we were able to raise $10,000 for an initiative called So Everybody Can Move. And what that initiative is doing is it's trying to change the laws at a state level so that insurance companies have to cover prosthetics for exercise and physical activity. And they have to include exercise and physical activity in the medical necessity definition. It's been a very successful initiative. It's gotten a lot of momentum right now. It's been passed in 5 states. Our goal is to have 28 states have the law passed by 2028, which is when the Paralympics will be in the United States. So we're going to be kind of setting our efforts towards doing that because we want to increase our contribution to that goal or that cause, and our goal is to donate even more money to them this year for such a good thing. So we will still be scheduling these, but don't expect to see step up until the fall.
Okay,
I can say that. Yep. And
Thank
if
you.
See ya.
If there's nothing else, everybody have a great one. Thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing everybody again.
All right, take care.
All right, thanks for
Bye.
joining today.
Bye.